Greetings and salutations, and welcome back once again to Waterloo and Wavre. Now, some things have happened. Least of all, my opponent and I have terminated the game via termination bid, because if we do this real quick, there we go. The simple fact is, there was not really enough time to do anything, because we would have had about 5 turns of actual daylight to achieve something, and I just don't think I'm gonna turn this around to a minor French victory in 5 turns. So, we are here doing the... So the French won the battle. So let's have a look-see at the situation. Just a bunch of wagons. What has he got here? The Marines de la Garde and the Pioneers of the Guard. So there is Napoleon. He's sitting at La Violence. Over here you have Riel's 2nd Corps. If we look at how, as you can see, he's using the cavalry here as a screen. Here you've got fairly intact units. Some of them are fairly battered. Take this one, for example. The 1st Battalion of the 1st Line is at 50% strength. Down here you got the 2nd Leger, 4th Battalion of the 2nd Leger, 2nd Battalion of the 1st. So there's Pire, yep, so there's Pire. Here you have Jerome. This is all Jerome. And Jerome's pretty battered in places. 3rd Battalion of the 2nd, he's got 2 companies out, so he's probably about 70%. This lot, that's about 50%. Again, another 50%. He's got the guns there. Here we go. You've got the 3rd Battalion of the 100th Line, has suffered 72% casualties. Oof. 2nd Battalion has suffered 40%, and then the 1st Battalion another 37%. So, those troops of General Foy have been battered in places. Others are very much intact, like all of these. They're very intact. All these light infantry are fairly intact. Over here you have... Who do you have? Hussar. So you've got Bachelou's division. They're quite battered. Not all that battered. So Riel as a whole, if we go to his corps, where is it? Is 13,500 men. So it's not entirely non-existent, but it has been pretty battered. Of course, likewise, I've been appallingly battered in places. So who else have we got here? We have got, if we... And you can see that he was actually moving troops of the Guard, so General Morand was marching with at least de Herbal's cavalry towards the Prussians. Over here, you can see he's got a screen of cavalry out. They are quite battered. They're not too battered. They're about 70%. They are battered. They're about 45. They're all fairly intact because that's General Quinot's division. Whew. They took quite a beating, but again, not overly that much. There you got General Cambon, Middle Guard, Old Guard. You got some more of the cavalry. So Donzelot is sort of really spread out. Dubinois. Who's that? Drummond and his cavalry is quite spread out and also quite non-existent at this point, I think. I think his cavalry is literally almost non-existent, all things considered. To be fair, it is a small division anyway. Who are 77, 86, 80, 74. So this is Drouet's division. Again, for the most part, fairly intact, but it has all suffered a bit of a beating here and there. Where's the 3rd division? You're a cavalry division. Where is that 3rd division? Not Morand. Le Herthier. Well, there's Miho and General Valtier's command. Where is he? Gotta find him now. There you go. There he is. General Margonet's division. So, again, not entirely destroyed, but quite battered. You can see what he's done. He's basically withdrawn further back while the cavalry has put out the screen. Same with the skirmishers. There you got Colbert Cannabis. The various troops of the Guard Lancers. So 3 squadrons. It looks like he's lost a squadron of Red Lancers. Yes, he has. So here you've got Young Guard. That element of the Young Guard is pretty battered between its two. You've got some chasseurs. So there's General Desnouettes. General Simir. Fairly intact, all things considered. Except for certain battalions have been not obliterated, but pretty mauled. Here you've got General, where is he? Subaver's cavalry division, or what's left of it, holding there. As you can see, he's withdrawn away from me to ensure that even if I did attack, I'm not going to make any progress. So, there's Van Dam. As you can see, Van Dam's arrived in a lot of force. Who else have we got? 45, but then you've got all your skirmishers out. 94, 90. So yeah, and then as you can see, there's Pajol's cavalry. There's Gerard. you can see what he's done. He's actually withdrawn. He's moved, essentially, so he's not facing me there. Which would mean I would have to attack him here. Who was he using to rearguard? General Pichot's division and just cavalry. Oh, and troops of General Vicheret's division, interestingly. But yeah, as you can see, I would not have made any real progress. General Chastel and his cavalry, Murin and his cavalry, Soult and his. Yeah, there was... especially if he kept moving during the night, I was not going to be making any progress there. As for Drouot and the Guard, here you've got the Grenadiers of the Guard. The Empress Dragoons are pretty much intact, despite some losses. Same with them, they lost a single guy. Couple of guns, knocked out there. But the simple fact is, even if I had more time, you can see what he's doing. He's falling back and he's going to build another defensive line here, in front of Plassinois and all the way around Papelotte and La Haye, which means I would have to break through yet another defensive line, which not going to go very well. Of course, my army, the Anglo-Allied army, was falling back to build up a new defensive line along here. So the question is, would he break them? I don't think so, all things considered, because in spite of the fact that Grouchy is here, the French only have 83,500 men, versus the Allied total of 134,000. So even if this continued on for, say, another day, realistically, Napoleon is not in a good spot, because he's wedged between the Prussians and the Anglo-Allied army. Of course, the Anglo-Allied army is battered, and you can see that in, say, the state of the 32nd Cornwalls. There's 100 of them left. 38% of the Gordon Highlanders are left. Most of the Guard are down to 40-50% for the most part. The Oxfords, both down to about 40-50%. If we look at the 23rd Light Dragoons, there's only 2 squadrons of them left, and one of them is battered. 44% losses. So again, not pretty. And then if you look at some of the Prussian units, 32% losses, 26%, 8%, 23, 19. You would be about 70% strength, if that, with the company returned. 20% losses there. 24. Yeah. Not pretty in places. Not pretty at all. Still, it was a very fun battle. It was a very interesting battle. All things considered. Yes, I got my butt handed to me again. But as my opponent has said, I am learning and getting better with each battle we have done. And this was our 4th? What did we do? We did Friedland, near Winden, Borodino, and now this. So we've been getting better over time, so there's no doubt about that. I just can be a little clumsy at times. Such as when he managed to capture those guns there early in the battle. I should have withdrawn them instantly. And I should have probably... Yeah, I should have probably placed myself along here, stayed along here behind the road. The problem was those French guns that were just blasting me from over here. Cool, there's not much left of you, boys. Yeah, 7. As you can see, the 9th Cuirassiers, there's not a lot of them left. 26 men. What else have we got? How's their cavalry over here? Where's their heavy cavalry? Okay, there's some of it. There's Kellerman. There we go. He's got the Carabineers heading this direction. And as you can see, there's the first guns being established. These are General Friant's troops, which General Friant commands the Old Guard, which are right here. Or at least part of them. So yeah, the Bearskins. There's the other chunk. General Cabaron commands the other chunk of the Old Guard. So we got basically Cristani, Petit, and Cambron commanding the Old Guard. Oh, and that as well. So yeah. The rest are Middle Guard. Still, all things considered, I'm not entirely unhappy with that performance. Yes, I should have done better, but I'm not entirely unhappy. As for officers lost, who did he lose? Colonel Tissot was wounded outside Hougoumont. General de Brigade Guiton was wounded over here. General de Brigade Hubert was wounded there. Chef de Battalion Senac was wounded there. Colonel Bro was killed. Colonel Courtier was killed rather. Colonel Deschmels killed. Doucmont killed. So 4 wounded, 4 dead so far. He's then suffered Jacquemot captured there. Dominguet was captured there. General de Brigade Donop was wounded over there. General de Brigade Vartiers was captured. Colonel de Breckenville was wounded. General de Brigade Blanchard was wounded. And then you got captured for Bugenat. General de Brigade Valin was captured. Gobert was wounded, and La Hubert was wounded. For me, I lost Lieutenant Colonel MacDonald, wounded in Hougoumont. Major General Kiel Mansigi was killed up here. He basically leads King's German Legion. Colonel Gorky was captured. Godecke was captured in Hougoumont. I'm butchering these names, to be fair. Oberst von Steuben was killed here. Lieutenant General Picton was captured, I remember that. Basically, Cuirassiers came up here and charged and captured him. General de Poppenchur was killed here by a cannonball, if I remember. And then over here you had Clinton and Adam both captured at the same time, again by a cavalry charge. Major General Byng was wounded there. Colonel Kerrison was wounded there, that's a cavalry officer. Lieutenant Colonel Portlington. Oh, apologies. Portlington was wounded over here. Major von Brauschenweg was my last loss. Ooh. And he was a Prussian, so... All things considered, yes, Picton was killed, von Steuben was killed, and de Poppenchur was... von Steuben was killed, de Poppenchur was killed, and Picton was captured, plus Clinton was captured. So I lost the essential part of 4 division commanders, unfortunately, because von Steuben's counted as a divisional commander. Because you've basically got... von Creus as the brigade commander and von Steuben as... No, other way round, sorry. Von Steuben's the brigade commander, von Creus is the, quote, divisional commander of the Nassauans. Still, you could definitely see he was concerned about the Prussians. And to be fair, I would as well, given that, for the most part, the first Prussian corps has not been engaged, and it's bearing down on this flank, and it could literally just roll up the whole flank. Von Bülow, while he has been battered in places, is still fairly intact and ready to push forward. So between the two of them, they risk overrunning and rolling up the entire French flank, which is why he's pulling back to build another defensive line, probably based around Plassinois, or just before it. Especially with the arrival of Van Damme and his corps, because he will place Van Damme along here as well. Because by doing so, he will basically get a nice, chunky defensive line. There's La Folle. There's Hulot. Hulot is 4th Corps? Huh. They must have transferred him. So you got Pish... Oh, of course it is 4th Corps, Hulot. I'm thinking not Hubert, not Le Fort. Who am I thinking of? There's the Young Guard. Hubert, there it is. I knew I was thinking of a Who something. So Hubert's division. Still, all things considered, if we look at the organisation, Le Foll, Hubert, Bethenzine, you've got Pichou, Vichray and Hulot. You also have Drummond, who is with Napoleon, Murin, who is with Gerard, therefore Grouchy, Foy, Jerome and Bachelou. No idea where the 7th is then. Jacquinot's cavalry is fairly battered. Again, there's not a lot left of it. What's he got? 2 squadrons of lancers there. He's got, what, 3 squadrons of lancers and 3 understrength squadrons of chasseurs left. Oh, that's not even squadrons. That's just what's left of them. That is a single squadron. So, as you can see, 4th Lancers, yeah, they've lost 59% of their men. Between them, they're probably about 30. We'll be generous and say 40% left. And so they've lost 60%. That is pretty damn brutal. So I kept up very well with the cavalry, unlike at Friedland. It's though it was the loss of those supplies and so many guns that really did me in. Of course, the loss of 22,000 infantry, near enough, did not help, but had I not lost that much supplies, this would actually be a minor victory, so. All things considered, however, I will take it. Another good learning experience. So, more experience, more experience, more experience. So for now, I apologise for, obviously, you not getting to see the end of it, with it being night and therefore me not recording it. But, as I said, there would not have been enough turns left to really achieve anything. So, who's that? 4th Hussars. 14 guns. You are 6th Corps? What the hell is 6th Corps troops doing there? Where's Lobau? There he is. Huh. He must have been sent with Grouchy. No. There is no. That's an interesting observation. 21st Division. Oh yeah, deux Testons. Of course. It's a very, very small division, but yeah, that goes with Grouchy as well. I have no idea where the 7th Division is then. There's Excellemans. Bizarre. Where's Grouchy? Surely there is a Grouchy. Grouchy, Grouchy, Grouchy. Or is there no Grouchy? Would not surprise me. I don't think... Right, they haven't done that. They didn't give him a wing commander in this one. Shame, that would have been actually pretty smart. Still, I thank you all for watching. I hope you have enjoyed this whole series. If you have, please consider subscribing, leaving a comment, or hitting that thumbs up. Especially comments. Give me comments. Tell me how you feel about the series, what I can improve, how badly I've done, where I can improve in the actual gameplay, and so on and so forth. But until next time, so until the next series, which I have no idea what it's going to be yet. It's going to be a while, I think, because I think I may have been drowning you with some... not some... I've been drowning you with videos, so you got more than enough to watch. So I will probably take a break for a while. So, until next time, whenever that happens to be, I will see you all soon.